Jareck?
Well, this is my mid-year exhibition, and this time I'll be doing using something a bit different. A lot of people like to use PowerPoint, Google Slides, or something like Prezi. This is using something much more newer than that. This is using something called Microsoft Sway. It's pretty good. And I'll show you right there. The reason I'm not caring about this is because this is more of an experiment to see how far I can go with Sway. So here's my agenda. We're going to begin with a small icebreaker. We're going to be talking about me, going over general information. We're going to the road to LTI. We're going to be talking about my academic reflections. I'm going to be going through my project proposal, and then we're going over my future, like what I'm going to be doing, what's going to happen to me after I graduate high school. I even have my post-secondary plan out there. So let's move on. So if you want to, we have a new digital world around us. Everywhere you look, your smartphone, your smartwatch, if you have one, it's all filled with technology. The age of analog is over. We don't have any more of these film cameras. We don't have any more of these film cameras. We have to pull it out, wash them up, cut them and stitch them, and then put it through a projector. Now we have an age where you can just stick a USB drive into a computer and just play it right from there. Every innovation comes with new kinds of technologies, from the smartwatch to the smartphone. Smartwatch to the smartphone, to the laptop, to the television. And here is where it all begins. The television, your own portable movie theater. The place you always go to every time that you can't really go to a theater. But when you do go to a theater, the experience there is amazing. It lets you interact in new ways. And with new IMAX technology, you can be a lot more. You can integrate yourself into the world. And that's where we come in, the movie producers that create this kind of technology. The movie producers like J.J. Abrams, Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, and a lot more. Now, we're going to talk a bit about me. Actually, icebreaker. I'm going to be asking you a little question. So if you'd like to get out your phones, you can go to this link right here and answer a simple question. What was your favorite movie of 2015? It's goo.gl/forums/I94UBHCIYJ. And make sure that at the last line there is an I, not an L.
94U.
I-94U.
Oh, was an I there?
Yeah, that's an
Yeah.
idea.
I got 43 real eyes. I-94U. Somebody, you gotta call out that thing after the U. I feel like it's a bad eye test.
UBHCLYJ. And
C-I-Y-J.
Oh, see, yeah. Mine says Y. Yeah. It's not big.
Here it is in case you can't find it.
Or I-U. You get it?
No.
Mine said it doesn't exist.
Where? Yeah.
Mine's not existing either.
Yeah, it's mostly because you probably put it in the wrong one.
Oh, yeah, just play mouse, really. Automatically, just play mouse. 27 people in the room, it didn't work. Play mouse.
I mean, it's big, so we can see it. Oh, no, I will probably bend it because it's too small. And there's a lot of light coming in the room.
994.
Sing all those lines.
Let's see.
Yeah, you. G-O-H-C, I-Y-J.
What's that? I think that must be help from Jareck.
Okay, shit.
That's the one that
Staff, I hope you know everything recorded.
You're supposed to put a capital I.
it has to be capital.
Yep, this thing is case sensitive.
Ah, you're gonna need fire.
Okay, it's case sensitive, that's why. That I,
Has to be
for
capital.
the.
Oh, that's good. Well, that would have been helpful. Okay. And then let's see, let's rock and roll, bro. Cool.
Let's try this again.
No, shoot. So is it capital I 94?
No, lowercase I, 94, UV, HC, capital I, YJ.
Okay.
It's okay if you can't get it.
Okay, I got it.
I want to get it.
Probably my bad.
That's my bad. Where's the other I second?
It's,
That
the
could
I
be,
before the YJ needs to be capital.
If I send emoji.
Oh.
So it's lowercase I,
Yeah,
so
this is the one
94,
on our phone.
lowercase UVHC, uppercase I, lowercase YJ.
Why couldn't it just be like G-O-O Jareck or something?
Sonny,
Is that?
can you send one to the group chat?
I got it, man. Right, ready? Boom.
I send emoji.
No. We got it. Right.
To something.
you need a capital I, right here.
Where's the capital I?
Right here. You mentioned being hired before Y. Oh, UVH.
You got it?
I'm a little dyslexic.
I'm a digress.
What's before the nine?
You should do some Arsenal.
Did you get it, Bronson?
The group chat?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just go to the group chat, just send it to me.
He's in the group chat.
Are you in the group chat, then?
No, so it should be.
I haven't gotten to the movies.
Did you go see Star Wars? I said, oh yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Did you get it?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think Star Wars.
Oh, this
You gonna show us the responses?
If you want to.
Yeah.
So sorry.
All right, my response was recorded.
I can only register 2018. Yeah.
Your mouth can keep that good. I'll make sure you do that. I don't care.
Can I watch Boxing Exhibition?
Safari to not open.
I'm gonna put it on YouTube.
Why? Are you gonna put them on YouTube? I'm gonna share it to everybody.
Wait, what?
Send it to Kobe. Hey Jeff, I'm gonna send my exhibition to Kobe.
Not like public, but like. What
you think, Jeff?
FPS YouTube. Nah.
You are not funny.
I want to see Monty just.
That's a cool tooth right there.
This is like seeing me talk.
That's 45 minutes long, I don't know.
I think
So here you have it.
Right.
It
Yeah,
should be
it's
worth.
It's worth it. It's worth it to me.
So here you have it, 16 blogs, Star Wars, Mission Impossible, Crimson Peak. We all have a different preference. Mine's actually The Revenant.
Isn't that this year though?
It is.
2016?
Yeah.
That's why I put
No,
that.
yeah.
What was it called?
The Revenant, isn't that 2016?
Oh, that's for Leo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it
Say Leo first.
Yeah. Yeah. Was announced in 2015. And it was supposed to be planned for 2015. So here we go, and then about me. So a lot of people are like to be optimistic about themselves. They only want to think positively, and they kind of, and even though some people think that's bad, it's also a good thing that people think optimistically. I, however, think more kind of realistically. I see the world as it happens. And one thing I think I can be, even though you don't like it, it's me. I can be brutally honest with you. I don't hold back. As I like to say, don't tell me to pull back my punches. I'll just punch punch even harder. So I don't actually take much seriously, but the things that I do take seriously, I always take into very consideration, into kind of like things like criticism. I always use that to improve myself and to create a newer kind of image for myself. Use it to improve myself, my personality, even if it's very hard to change my personality, and I can be stubborn sometimes. Some people should also know. I have a different way of thinking about things. I usually let my mind keep going around. Sometimes it goes in circles, it goes into tangents, but every time I often think into a tangent, it always leads straight back to the point. If you ever seen a Vsauce video, you always go, every single topic goes on different tangents, such as time, such as the world of time being leading to the end of the world, and always leading back into the end of time. So I usually, every kind of tangent I go into usually leads back to the point. I have a very huge imagination. I don't know if you think about me, but my mind usually gets me everywhere, from China to another galaxy, into the microscopic world of microorganisms. And I use this kind of imagination as an idea to give me ideas to help me create ideas for movies or television shows that I might want to make. And to do that, I will usually have to impose a director. Christopher, for example. Right now I'm showing him the strings and straws of what to do with directing, and from pre-production to production to post-production. And right now I'm showing him the lessons in editing, such as cutting out pasting, cutting out and omitting parts, and things like that can always help. And then here's my interests. As you might know, I very much enjoy film. I love it, I embrace it, and I've been watching film since I was 4, where my first movie was, I think, 2001: A Space Odyssey. I don't know if any of you have seen that, but it was a Stanley Kubrick classic, one of the greatest movies of its time, and it inspired me to think much more deeply into the world of film, to create kind of double meanings behind every line. Then came out things like Jurassic Park, the original Star Wars, which soon became Episode 4. I watched these things with so much enthusiasm, and these things ultimately led me to try to be a film producer. I have a hobby of learning about different technologies. IMAX, for example. If you've ever seen a movie in IMAX 3D, you would know how amazing it is. Raise your hand if you've seen a movie in IMAX. Raise your hand if it was Star Wars. I for that. So if you know the idea of IMAX, it all started with the 3 IMAX cameras. There were 3 IMAX cameras in the world, none of them were used until Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan was the director and producer behind The Dark Knight, and for the movie behind that, he used IMAX technology, which was very expensive at the time, around $330,000 for a camera. And when one of them broke, that meant he was kind of cut off on budget. But it also meant that because he had another one, he could still be able to produce the IMAX movie in IMAX 3D. And that's where the huge explosion in IMAX technology began. And this kind of thing usually kind of inspires a lot of people to think differently using this kind of technology. And I like to learn about these kind of things because they're the ones that are going to help me in making films. new 3D technology, 4D technology, virtual reality. These kinds of things will ultimately become our future, whether you like it or not. Because once they're popularized, they'll stay in your head and they'll never come out. Now let's move on. So this is my road to learning through internships. Right here is my resume, which I can bring up right now. And as you see, it's a bit bare bones, but as I do more notable things, most of the time, I'll add things to my resume. So right now, it's a bit bare. So we just have to wait. And right now, here's my cover letter. And this is basically what I used as my advantage at the future project. They said it wasn't necessary. They did say it wasn't necessary, correct? Yeah, they said it wasn't necessary, but when you're going to a job, you should always bring a resume and cover letter. That way you'll have a better chance of anyone that doesn't. Because one of my friends is a manager, and a lot of the complaints he has is because none of his new employees ever bring a resume. A lot of the times ask for a resume and they always say, "What's a resume?" These kind of things kind of teach you about today's world, where nobody's really much educated on the world of business. But this kind of thing can be beneficial to you, as it gives you an edge, because you know you should bring a resume, and if everybody else doesn't know that, it gives you the advantage of making yourself stand out against the crowd and getting the job before they do. Because in this world of business, you have to be ruthless. I'll tell you a story about how I got the job. So I was in English. It was in SAT English class, and I was basically doing my thing, just writing down vocabulary words. And when Miss Crosby came to the room, and she asked me if I could come with her, I went with her, and we met with Zaki. And I met Zaki for the first time. We were talking to each other about how he needed a film producer and a film director to kind of engage in a kind of new video production for the future project. I accepted. I also brought in Christopher into the picture, and we started to create a huge commercial for Big Picture. I'll show you that a bit later. And this kind of thing also kind of helps me, and it helps Christopher in that we now have huge experiences to see the world in a new way. As now we people can be seeing up and coming film producers and directors. And so I'll go over my academic reflections right now. I was in regular school for 3 years, and it wasn't that bad. It wasn't good, it wasn't bad. It was uneventful at best. A lot of people treat regular school as if it was like worse than the devil's armpits. But in fact, that's not true. People are just saying that because when people say that, it starts to give us a bad image. As people start saying that regular school is bad and horrible, and that makes regular school feel worse. They'll start to think that we have huge egos, that we think we're better than them, and we can't have that happen. Because if that happens, the regular school is not going to even consider coming here. So, one thing I'd like to tell you is that even if I had an uneventful years, but I still didn't have a kind of normal type of education during my regular school. In fact, I think fate gave me a test to see how I was able to fare against a senior test. And during 2013, around the beginning there, the school had made a mistake in the system, and instead of the NOCTI test, which is instead of giving the NOCTI test to the seniors, which they were meant to take, it was given to the freshmen because there was a mistake. The NOCTI test is the National Occupational Conservatory Testing Institution. And if you've seen Park, you haven't seen anything yet. These tests are meant to bombard you. Because these tests are meant to test your will and see how you are for CTE, which is Career and Technical Education. And I took the NOCTI test while I was a freshman with my entire graphic arts and web design class. And out of everyone that ever failed, only 2 people actually passed. One of them you probably know as Luis Lemos. He's in AP right now. He takes, I think, all AP classes. And the other person is me. I passed the NOCTI test. A lot of people saw that as a huge feat. As like, I took a test meant for seniors as a freshman, and I passed. And from then on out, I got CTE offers for internships, not from Big Picture, but from New York Public Schools itself. This kind of thing also opened me up to new opportunities, such as when I worked with the Ironbound Community Center, making a small explanatory video for them. And that gave me a lot of experience on what I could do. The other 2 years, which was sophomore and junior year, were filled with bigger production, things I did for the school, rather than the ICC or the bigger picture. And this kind of, I loved it. I did what I loved. I was working in a close to professional studio, and now I have connections. I now have a friend in New York who owns a place in Trump Towers. Because of these connections I made, I now have powerful friends that can help me get to where I want to be. And best of all, I got community service hours for being in video production. So now we're going over a proposal. Here, the video is right there on that link, and my internship is based on the future project. I already told you about this. I'm not going to go over it again. And here it is.
I think Big Picture is a solution to a major problem in education in America today. In the 21st century, what it represents at this time in 2016 is evolution and progress.
The way this is that it's pretty short because of time restrictions, as I started my internship very late in November, I think. And we began this project in the beginning of December. Since we only had Wednesdays, it was very difficult to get anything done before everything happened. Midterm studying, testing, that kind of thing. Now, here's my future. My post-secondary plan is right there. I'll get to that a bit later. Now, I've already applied to a lot of schools right now. Right now, I've already been accepted into Pace University, the New York Institute of Technology, and at Berkeley College. Now, why would you say, why Berkeley College? It's kind of maybe crap. Well, I'm trying to apply what I've been taught and back in middle school, apply to every single college you can, and then hope for the best. So I have applied to a lot of colleges right now. I've also applied to Columbia College Hollywood, 5 Times College, and the Wood Toby Coburn School, and hope to be accepted from those. And I'm still in the process of application for the University of Southern California and the University of California, Los Angeles. And what I hope these schools will help me do is even if I don't go to them, at least it gives me the satisfaction that I could. Because this kind of thing also shows me that if I'm good enough for the University of Southern California, I'm good enough for anything. Now, I'm going to go for my career in film. Here, I plan to get, one thing I have to plan is that I like to think ahead. I like to think about my future, what ideas I have for the future, what things I can do for the future, and what I can do now. One thing I plan to do is I plan to take an internship during the beginning years of college, because if you go in very late, then you're going to have to keep continuing that internship throughout your years without getting paid. And if you're going for a bachelor's, that's not exactly a good idea. So when you're going into the first few years, you have less time to keep that internship after college. And it also creates connections for you. It also makes connections for you. One thing I plan to internship at is Legendary Pictures, which, as you know, created Man of Steel. If you've seen that movie, you know how badass it is. One of the other studios that I plan to try and intern at is Universal, 20th Century Fox, a lot of these big studios that already have bases in New York. And these kinds of internships will help me learn about production and learn about the kind of processes that we have to go to. Because these things don't take just like a month or two. Like a lot of jobs take like a month or two of training. And video production takes years because of the kind of longevity every movie has to make. You can't just make a movie in a year. You have to keep working on it. A lot of pre-production goes around in about like 6-7 months. Planning about it. Production takes about a year or two. That's just every second you take in a movie probably took about a day to make. And post-production takes the most, around 2-3 years, if the movie is good. A lot of this includes CGI, kind of editing people's faces, making them look more better for the movie. So this kind of thing, these people are into it, and unlike a lot of jobs, the hours vary because you don't know what's going to happen. You could be stuck filming in Sahara Desert, like what happened in the original Star Wars. You could be delayed by other people's schedules, like Steven Spielberg's Indiana Jones had to be postponed because of a lot of the schedules that a lot of people took, especially Disney. Or some other company might be out to get you. Like what happened recently with Quentin Tarantino's The Hateful Eight, which had to be postponed because the theater it premiered in was strong-armed by Disney to not show the movie and instead show Star Wars, which you might think is a very bad thing. It's business. Get used to it. Then we have, with an internship, I can easily get myself a better job for myself. So a lot of the starting careers began at a salary, around an average yearly salary of around $115,000, depending on the kind of films you make. If you go independent, it's a bit less, and if you're a freelancer, it's even lesser. But if you go with the best of the best, 20th Century Fox, Universal, Disney, these kinds of things pay you quite a bit. And if you give yourself a good track record, making great films that everybody loves, that can easily be quoted by anybody, the Star Wars franchise. If basically Steven Spielberg said this: if you can make a sequel of it, it's already good enough. If you can make an entire franchise of it, you don't have to make another one. Everybody else will make it for you. And so this kind of thing means that if you can make an entire franchise out of it, it's good enough. Star Wars created a huge cult classic. Jurassic Park 2, Jurassic Park 3, Jurassic World. Hell, a lot of famous movies you've seen already have franchises of them. Independence Day is coming out with a sequel, much later this year. And this kind of thing also kind of inspires people to make something that everybody can enjoy, so they can make a franchise out of it, so more people can enjoy it. Everybody can finally see what happened to their favorite characters, things like that. Always get people going. Now, my ideas are probably not ideal for a lot of people, as I'm mostly interested in dramas. I like to go with kind of people's emotions, playing with them, tearing them right from the heart, and completely going down to bawling on their knees. This kind of things, when you toy with people's emotions, that's how you know you've created something great. House MD with Hugh Laurie as Gregory House. It was one of the most viewed in the world, and with Hugh Laurie being one of the most paid television actors in the world at 1.2 million per season. This kind of thing opens up to new possibilities with things like The Walking Dead, crime dramas, things like, well, say, not just House MD, but you also have a lot of others. You have NCIX, CIS. You have a lot of these dramas that open people up to new kinds of realms. You have Netflix originals. If you've seen a Netflix original, something like Narcos, you've seen something like House of Cards, these kinds of things always get you riled up for the next episode, see what else is coming up next. And that kind of ideas I'm trying to go with here, something that can be expanded. One of them is a television show in which a determined murder investigator, kind of scarred by her own past, falls into insanity. This kind of thing is very emotional to a lot of people, and it could ultimately move them, inspire them, and entertain them. Because that is the ultimate goal for every television show and movie, is to entertain. When you can entertain someone, you've succeeded already. And it's become a huge classic for everybody to make a film, to make a television show, and there's barely any bad movies anymore. Have you ever seen a bad movie?
Yeah, a couple.
And when was the last time you saw a bad movie? Exactly. A lot of, maybe a lot of things like The Revenant, because a lot of directors are now taking new steps in research